Let's take a look at sections and details. So you have a floor plan and maybe you've created this building section. We did go to the view tab and we selected section right there. And we just click 2 points to create this section. And you'll see it over here in the project browser. You can also click just over one of the walls. So I'm going to click and click here, and now we have another section, but it's just the wall. So just wanted to point that out to you, and now I have section 2. So if I double click on section 1, you see the whole thing. It's the building section. I could even rename this building section, and then section 2 is really a wall section. And so one way to create the wall section is to use the section tool to create the section. Another way, though, is to go back to the building section because maybe you want to create a call out. A call out is one of these. It will call out a detail from a plan or a section. You'll see these in several, it's part of the drawing set. So if I, for instance, create a rectangular call out up here on my section, I can click a point, pull my mouse across here, kind of like decide on where I want that whole wall section to go. You can even kind of pull this label over here. So now you've got a call out, you've got a section, and see how it's called a call out there? So there's kind of a connection to the what's going on in the drawing, and not just kind of a wall section, right? So if something changes in either one of them, it will update. So this is a choice for you to work with. When you're in the call out, doesn't matter if it's this call out or if it's this, section like this, you can see that you have some line work, but it's not exact, right? So it's your choice to use this to start with, drawing details on it, like putting the stud, wood studs in there and creating here your detail. So if I did that, then I would scroll down here and I would start to build my elements here. Now, what happens is your drawings start to change, and then your detail needs to be updated and shifted around to coordinate with the changes in the design. So instead of putting your details here, which I have been teaching, because we can change the line work and we can start building the detail here. Another way to do that is to create an entire view, a drafting view. So I already created one. I just want to show you what it looks like, and then we'll create one ourselves, and then you'll be able to see all the different things that you could use if you decided to put it on this section. So here's the details right there. So I just drew this. If I just cross over it, you can see that each one of these lines, these segments, is a different line or a different hatch fill or a different element. Like this is an actual family. It's a 2x10. So it's a choice if you want to use the wall section to start building your line work here, or create a whole other view, a detail view that you can use for your section. So I do have a video online in YouTube, my YouTube channel, that shows you how to build it right here. But if you'd like to do it, that way. And by the way, when you get to this point, it's just a matter of changing the scale here to something else that works so that the text would change. And then you build on this section those things that I'm going to show you now. All right. So you decide not to do it that way, and you just want to draw something, draw a sheet. So in the View tab, you'll see that you have Drafting View right there. So I'm going to click on Drafting View, and I'm going to call this Wall Section. Although we'll just do a small portion of the wall section, which becomes a detail. This would be if you were to do the whole thing. And it already determines the scale for you, but you can always change that over there at the bottom left as you start to build your section and decide on the scale. Let's go ahead and pick OK. So down over here now, we have under Drafting Views, the one that I created earlier, and this new wall section detail. Well, this is kind of a blank sheet of paper now. So in the Annotate tab, you have all of these tools that you can use to start drawing. So I'm going to click on Detail Line. Now that's the difference between a detail line and a model line. So here's a detail line that's going to stay in this view. And then over here someplace, yeah, in the Architecture tab, you'll see it's grayed out because we're in the detail sheet. But there's a model line, which is going to be in all the views. So under the Annotate tab, we're going to click on Detail Line, and then you'll see that you have a choice of what that line looks like, if it's going to be thin lines or wide lines. So you're just really ready to draw. So I'm just going to click a point. This is something that we're going to do together for this assignment. We're going to actually draw this so that we can build out this portion of this wall section. Okay. So we'll start the detail line, and just going to pick a point here anywhere and pull my mouse to the right and make sure that you are typing in inches, because if you just put 8, it would be 8 feet. So type in 8 and then inches, the shift, upon the shift apostrophe there, or shift quotations, right? And then enter. And there's your 8-inch line. And so let's just say this is the foundation wall. I'm just going to go ahead and click because we're only going down so far. And then it doesn't matter how far down you went. I right-clicked and picked canceled. And now I'm going to click here, pull my mouse down, and click again. Right-click and cancel. So I just drew here the beginning of the foundation wall right there. Now, when we need to have these components, we can draw them. Like I could continue and just draw this 2x6 mud sill. But what we do have is we have components that we can load. And I have them loaded, so I'm going to show you where to get them from. We can go to Insert and pick Load Autodesk Family right there. We've done this before. And look underneath all the categories and find Detail Items. Under Detail Items, you have all of these things that are kind of like little components for things like, you can see them right there, all of the little shapes, that these are like for details. They're flat images. They're not the full length structure. And so we can go all the way to the bottom and look for wood framing and click on wood framing. And then we want the nominal cut. The nominal cut, because that's going to be like the 2x4 that's really 1.5 by 3.5. So go ahead and click on nominal cut and then pick load. All right, then you're going to have a choice of which ones to load. So hold your control key down. Hold your control key down and click on 2x4, 2x6, and 2x10. You see the depth and the width there, or the actual size of it. So 2x4, 2x6, 2x10. Go ahead and pick OK. Okay. So those are loaded. While we're here, we're going to also load the anchor bolt. So let's go over to Load Autodesk Family and go back up to Detail Items. Up at the top there, you can do a search. So instead of trying to find out that it's under Masonry, Accessories, which is typical, we're going to type in Anchor. And when you type in Anchor and enter, it'll kind of give you all the anchors. And here's the anchor bolt with the little hook that we sometimes use. I know that we use straps as well, but I'm just showing you where all these accessories are for the foundation and the connection from the foundation to the mud sill. So go ahead and click on Anchor Bolt Hook Side and pick Load. So under Annotate and Component, we're going to click on Detail Component and come over to this drop down under Properties and look for 2x6 and click Nominal Cut Lumber 2x6. Now before you place it, you can click and let go of your spacebar to rotate it. And that will rotate it right into place so that you can click right there. That's our 2x6. And now you can either use the escape key or click on that modify button at the top left to get out of that. So look, we have our mud sill. Now, by default, Revit shows all of the bold lines, and these components are set up in section to have these bold lines. So to turn that off, we can go to, and let's do this together, we'll go to the View tab, and then look under Graphics. You're going to click on Thin Lines. Thin Lines, and what that does is it just changes your lines back to all thin lines so you can work with them. Right there. See? Just like that. All right. So back to the Annotate tab. We're ready to continue drawing. We can click on Detail Line, and you can do this several ways. I'm sure everybody's going to start it a different way, but I'm just going to click here at the end of this 2x6 and pull my mouse up. I know that this is the floor joist, and that's going to be 9 1/4. So I'll type in 9.25 inches and press enter. So I just started the detail line. I clicked at the end of this. I pulled my mouse up and I typed in 9.25 inches. Make sure you put the inches. Now, this, we don't really care how far it goes over because that's going to be like the break line. So I'm just going to pull my mouse to the left and click. And then right click and cancel. And you'll be ready to draw another line. You can just click down here at the bottom or the top of like the other part of the mud sill. When you pull your mouse across, it kind of shows you where the end of the other line is right there. Click. So far we have our foundation wall right there. We have our mud sill, and we have our joist, floor joist. So let's use a few more tools like offset. So we want to offset this line right here, the top of that floor joist, up 3/4 of an inch for the subfloor. So click on it first and then look under modify and you'll see the offset command right here. So click on offset, and then you see under offset right there underneath the ribbon, we can replace that with 3/4 inches or 0.75 inches. Just make sure that you type in the inches or it's going to be feet. And now, see, when you put your pointer close to the line that you want to offset, you'll see the little hidden line that shows you which side you want to put it on. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure it goes above it and click. And there it goes. Kind of nice. Okay. Now we can stretch lines too. So I can click on this one, the line that we drew over here that's 9 1/4, and hold your left mouse button down on that little circular grip at the end of it and pull it up to the other one, and now you've got it stretched out. All right, so I think we're ready to bring in our 2x10 and our 2x4. So going back to annotate and clicking on component, we can come over here and change under properties to a 2x10. Again, we can use the space bar to rotate it until we get to a point where we can click. See how I rotated it until I could click here at the top? And now I've got my 2x10 right there. And I'm still in the command, so I'm not going to cancel out of it. I can just come over here in the drop down and go grab the 2x4 and use my space bar to rotate it and pop it into place right there. Now, I know a lot of people create this connection different ways. Some people will build the wall and put the plywood on the outside, down onto the subfloor. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and escape out of this. I'm just going to draw the plywood so that it comes all the way down past the mud sill here. But like I said, so many different ways of doing this drawing this detail. Some will scooch this in and stop the plywood here and use something else for this. Okay. So we have a 1/2 inch, maybe gypboard drywall on the inside, and then another 1/2 inch that goes all the way down. So let's just draw it. Start the detail line. You can, with this one, because we're going to do an offset, I'm just going to click at the bottom of this 2x4 right there. And just pull my mouse up a little ways right up here randomly right there. And cancel that out of that. I just right click and cancel, but you can use your escape key or you can use your modify button at the top left there. Now click on that line and go to offset and change the offset. Just trying to show you different tools here that you can use. Change the offset to 0.5 inches. Make sure you put the inches and then click this line. Make sure your hidden line is showing on the left side. And now you've got your 1/2 inch. I mean, we really could do it for this too. Honestly, we should. Yeah. I was going to draw it, but since we're in it and it's 1/2 inch, we might as well go ahead and find one of these lines, maybe this one, and click. Now we have our 1/2 inch right there. Like I said, I'm sure you've seen this, that you can draw and build this a lot of different ways. So I'm going to select that line that I just used for the 1/2 inch offset and drag it up here. And I'll just drag this down just past the mud sill there. All right, I'll just use the detail line. I'll go back to annotate and pick detail line and click here. So I'm going to end up with there. I'm going to end up with this 1/2 inch here on the inside and a 1/2 inch on the outside. And I'll just go ahead and draw this little line across here. Now I know there'll be a little drip edge there that goes with the siding and all of that, but like I said, we're just going to keep this simple so I can show you the tools. All right, and then the insulation is already here for us in this panel. I'm just going to click right on here, insulation. And it says it's 3.5 inches. I mean, we could change that if we needed 5.5 inches for the 2x6s. But here I'm just going to click the midpoint of this joist and pull my mouse up. And look at that. Nice, right? So there's the insulation, sub 4, all my 2x4, 2x6, 2x10s. And so let's take a look at bringing that anchor bolt in. We have a little bit of customizing to do with that one. And I think this is a good way to show you how to work with families. So let's go to component and detail component and find that anchor bolt. It's in here. You can see the only thing that's actually loaded is the W12, the wide flange beam right here in section. So we needed to load a few more things. Okay, so let's take a look at the anchor bolt. We're going to use a 1/2 inch anchor bolt right here. And you can see it now. Mine is hidden. Mine is hidden because I changed it. I'm going to show you how to change it to hidden. Yours will be solid. So we're going to go ahead and pop that in here because we're going to mirror it so the hook is on the other side. So first we're going to click to place it and then cancel out of that. And then we want to mirror it. Now, unfortunately, they don't have, when you click right on the anchor bolt, you'll see that you can use these little grips to make it longer, shorter, make the hook part longer. But as far as mirroring it, we're going to select the anchor bolt and then look up and modify here. You see how there's two different mirrors? One is mirror and pick an axis, and the other one is mirror and draw an axis. So we're going to pick an axis. So go ahead and click mirror pick axis. And now before you do anything, before you click on it, look over here. In 2005, I believe that you'll look in this green part down here and you'll see a check mark to check whether you're going to copy it or not. And for this one, if you have this blue and on, it will be copied. But if you want to take it off, you click on it so it's white and it won't be copied. And now you can go to the center line of the anchor bolt and click. And see how it mirrors it, but it doesn't copy it. Okay, so we pulled in the anchor bolt and we placed it. Now, I don't know why they don't have it hidden line, and there's nothing in the drawing that you can use to change that hidden line, because you can see right here, this would be the tool line work that I would use. So it's in the family. So now all of these things like doors, windows, desks, this is a great way to show you about families. So because this is a family, when you double click on a family, it actually opens that family. So we'll use this anchor bolt to show you. Double click on the anchor bolt. Now you're out of the drawing. You can see up here at the top, it's not an RVT anymore, it's an RFA. We're in the anchor bolt detail. And yours is solid. Like I said, yours is solid. So when you select here the bolt hook right here once, you'll see that you have some editing tools. But what we want to do is we want to edit the line work for that. So sometimes you have to select it, and then sometimes you either pick edit boundary or you double click. So I'm double clicking. Now I double click to go inside the sketch mode to sketch that or change that line work or whatever. Maybe I want to change it completely. So what I want to do is hold my left mouse button down and drag my mouse across all of this so that all of this line work is showing, is selected. Now you could hold your control key down to select each one individually. That's one way of selecting more than one object. And once you do that, you can see even in properties or up here above, you can change from light lines to hidden lines right there. This is where yours is going to look like mine. But this is another learning tool to say that you can double click on a family and change it. Now, if you are going to change it, you really should save it as a different name. So you double click to open up the one that you are already in. But if you save it, the changes are going to be back in all of them, right? So it's up to you. But I hope that's pretty clear, where if you save it as a different name, you're creating kind of a different family. And then you're not messing up the original one, right? So let's go ahead and pick the green check mark. And at this point, when you see over here, load into project or load into project and close, this is where you have a choice of coming up here and picking save as to save it as a different family, or what we're just going to do is pick load into project right there. And then do you want to save the changes? I pick yes, because when would you need an anchor bolt that isn't hidden lined? I mean, it's almost always embedded in some kind of grout, concrete, something. So let's go ahead and pick yes. Is yours doing this too? Is I'm just gonna go ahead and pick save. All right. So it just asked if I wanted to override the other one because I already had it open. So yours should look hidden. All right, so we're getting somewhere here, and this is the first part of this information here to show you how to create a section. So while we're at it, we're in the annotate tab. We're going to put some earth here. So let's create a detail line. Let's create a detail line that starts here someplace and just kind of like comes down. This is the grade line, just like that. And now we're going to use what's called a region. A filled region is sort of like hatch in AutoCAD. And if you just rest your pointer over filled region, it'll show you a little video about it. So click on filled region. And then under the draw panel, you have all these choices of what to use for it. I'm just going to use lines. So I'm going to, and originally I drew it with thin lines, and then I went back and I changed the lines to invisible. So I think at this point it might be better while we're drawing it to click on invisible lines so that we don't have like the boundary showing. And now I can start to click here of where I want this earth to come across and up here and kind of have this fill of earth to show that that's the ground. And we didn't put a hatch pattern yet in there, or fill the region, because they're under properties right here, under properties. Now, I didn't have earth in here. I didn't have earth, so I had to load it. So hopefully you have it, but just in case you don't have it, I'm going to show you how to load it. But if you do have it, go ahead and click earth and then pick the green check mark and you should see the earth. Now, that was a little bit weird that I didn't have the earth because that's usually in the software. So I'm going to show you how to load it. Okay. So back at in Revit, you're under the detail view, and we're going to click on region and filled region. So you clicked on filled region, you're back in editing mode, the sketch mode, and now you see all these different filled regions. I didn't have earth, so I clicked, and let's do this together because I think it's good for you to learn, but maybe you don't have it either. Let's go ahead and pick edit type. And now you want to make sure that you duplicate, because I believe the one that you're seeing is a different one. So pick duplicate and then type in earth. If you don't have one, I mean, you can put earth 2 or something just to do it, but go ahead and pick OK. And then here it is right here. This is the list. Where it says filled pattern, I'm going to click on that and then click those annoying little icons with 3 little dots that you can barely see, you really have to watch out for those. And then here are all your fill patterns. Look at them all. There are so many that, and some of them aren't even loaded. Look at all these new wood grains that they put in here. So, and they even have plywood right there. So, not all of them are loaded. So this is the way to load it. You pick edit type, you pick duplicate, you type in the name of it, the wood 2 or 3, and then you pick which pattern you want and pick OK. And then when you pick OK or apply, now you have a new filled region that you can use. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pick the red X because we're want to get out of this. Cancel out of that. All right, so this is our detail. I guess we could fill, let's fill the concrete here to get like a little because instead of masonry, let's just say it's poured concrete, and we'll just get a little more experience. Filled region. I guess invisible does work pretty well. I'm just gonna start down here someplace, and you know what? Honestly, we could use a rectangle. So either use lines to draw a box here, or click on rectangle under draw here, because we're in sketch mode, and create your rectangle right there. And then over here, let's see if we have concrete. Oh, geez. Okay, we don't. So, well, I don't. Do you? I don't see it. So I'm going to click on edit type, and I'm going to pick duplicate and concrete. Click OK. Change this. Click here where it says fill pattern. Click on the little icon, the 3 little dots. Now there is gypsum, plaster, and that's what it's called for gypsum board. And there's concrete. Concrete, pick OK. There's concrete, pick OK. And now we selected concrete. Now this is the part that I like to talk to Autodesk about. Like, it doesn't show you a preview of it. It just, you have to pick the green check mark in order to see it. So pick the green check mark and you should see that there's your concrete. Okay, so all of these tools can be used in any of the views, by the way, but it's not recommended to go off the model. We want to make sure that everything is following that 3D model so that it's all one piece, one model. Okay, so all right, let's add text. If we click on text right here under the annotate tab, you'll see that you have like regular text with no leader, but you have text with these with the leader and a line. And so if you like your straight leaders, you like your curved ones, you want just one segment. I kind of like the one with 2 segments, so let's click on that. And then we want this the top leader at top left, right? And so when you just rest your point, just move your pointer around, and it'll say at the bottom left corner or on your tool, on your pointer, it'll say specify leader points. So we'll just add one note for you to work with, and I'm just randomly going to pick the the wood, the sill, mud sill. So I'm just going to go ahead and click a point for the arrow, pull your mouse away from that point and click another point, and then pull your mouse to the right and click another point, and now you can start to type. Maybe we'll just type 2 by 6. Make sure you have uppercase. Treated mud cell. Some plate people will call it a sill plate. Mud sill plate. Why not? And there's more to that, but I think we're just gonna put with 1/2-inch diameter anchor bolts let's do because we would see that at 6 feet 0 inches on center. It would be like Dad, OC, OC, and then for on center, and then tip for typical, right? So 2x6 treated wood sill plate with 1/2 inch diameter anchor bolt at 6 foot 0 on center. And that note could be drawn several different ways. I know. Okay. Yeah. So now we can decide on the text type. That's right. So I'm going to go ahead and click in space here so that it can, end the typing. And then you still have it selected. So up here, you should be able to drop this list down and see what kind of other text heights you can use. Oh, and the scale. That's right. So your scale is probably in 1/2 inch. That's right. That's 1.5 inch. That's what we had, 1.5 inch. And I think the default was 1/4 inch or something like that. The text. Let's use your escape. Use your escape key to get out of that so we can start playing around with the scale. So first things first, we want to make sure that we have the right scale for this detail. So 1.5 inch is probably good for like a small detail like this. Probably. Let's start with 3/4 of an inch so you can kind of see how the text changes. See that? And it all depends on what size sheet you have, right? And what you decide on your scale. We might change all of this. So click on your text. And again, I want to show you something here. If you want to create a new text type, like I did right there, I created an 1/8 of an inch. And that's big. So I went back to 330 seconds. But if you click Edit Type and you click Duplicate, and let's say you want to create some random new text type. Well, maybe you want to create an 1/8 inch because an 1/8 inch is pretty typical. So type in 1/8 inch. That's the name of it right there. I'm going to put Arial because A or something like that, because you don't have to put A, just put 1/8 inch and pick OK. Then here under the text font, text size, right underneath that, right there, text size, you're going to type in 1/8 inches or 0.125 inches, and then pick OK. So you see now you're building your text heights as well as your filled regions. And this is kind of the way that Revit works, is that you start to customize it for your own project and standards. Okay, so I'm going to use looks like 330 seconds of an inch, but we'll find out when we bring it on the sheet. Right, so before we bring it on the sheet, I just want to make sure that we have everything in place. Okay, so the one drawback in using this drafting view is that it doesn't have a crop region. So the crop region is used in the other views to kind of crop it before you bring it into the sheet. So, yeah, I think we're going to need to kind of pull back our lines to where we want them to be on the sheet. So you kind of like adjust it so that this is kind of like the size that you want on the sheet. Okay, so last thing to do is to go over to Sheets, All, and right-click and pick New Sheet. You should already have maybe a sheet that you have created from before, but if not, you can use one of the other ones. And now you have a sheet, and you can now come over to the wall section view like we did before. Hold your left mouse button down and drag that detail onto the sheet, and It won't let me. The only reason being is because I already created one. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one. Let's start again. There we go. So it's okay. I'll get up to where you're at. There we go. There. So when you drag a floor plan to a sheet, it won't let you grab that same floor plan and bring it to a different sheet. You can only bring it once. So that's why sometimes it's good to duplicate a view. If, for instance, you have the color-coded plan or some other thing like a demolition plan, you want to duplicate the view or create another view. So just to keep that in mind, because we're creating a sheet set, right? So when you pull that over here and click, you've got your detail, and there it is. And now you're going back to all the tools that we used for working with sheets. If you need to change the scale, you can double click on here the detail in the sheet to get into the sheet instead of going back into the drawing view. And this will give you an idea of what it looks like, right? So if you wanted to change the scale here because you wanted it bigger, I mean, no, 1.5 inch at 11, this is 11 by 17 sheet of paper. So it just depends on what you want. I'm going to stick with my 3/4 of an inch. And then at this point, you'd also see, if that was the right text size. So now you can double click out in the sheet and you can mess with this a little bit. Click on the detail once and then use this little blue ball here to drag that title back, or you can click on it and drag the title over a little bit. So now you have a detail. Awesome. Now, going back to let you know all those things that we did, I'm going to go back over here to our wall section. All of those things that we did here, and in fact, I should show you a couple other things in Annotate. We do have a revision cloud. So the revision cloud is like if something changes on the drawing and you need to create a cloud around the revision with to recognize that that's the change. There it is there. And then under component, you do have repeating detail components like when you set up masonry or something else is repeating. Okay. All right then.